Esther, the founder of the label. Usually I'm designing and pattern making new collections and traveling to Bali to have all of our garments ethically made by two families there. I also usually participate in a lot of the Finders Keepers events in Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane, and I've really missed doing that in 2020. Because I have a really close relationship with our families that we work with in Bali, I haven't been able to produce a new collection in 2020 because I haven't been able to travel there. So instead I started sewing some face masks back in about June, I think. And I'm really thankful that I've been able to do that to keep myself busy, but also to offer a very useful and practical product and add a bit of fun to what could be a very political and very unpleasant thing. Our masks have been popular because they abide by the WHO guidelines for what a handmade mask should be like, but also because they're made from really beautiful fabrications and the ear loops are really, really comfortable. So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to make one of our masks. Sewing is a really great skill to have and it can seem really straightforward, but I'm hoping that by the time you finish this mask, you'll have a new level of appreciation for sort of the skill and the techniques that go into creating something simple like a face mask. And then perhaps even then you'll have more appreciation for the kind of love, skill, care, and technique that goes into creating garments. This is the style of mask that I'm going to be showing you how to make. So they are the ones that we have for sale on our site. But if you have any fabric at home and if you ever wanted to try a sewing project, this is a really good one to start. I'll show you how it works, just like this. If you do have a go, make sure you tag me at the label. I would love to see if you had a go at making a mask. You can get lots of beautiful fabrics and you can use up remnants and things like that. So I'd love to see how your mask turned out. Let's get started.
So one of the most important features of this mask is the filter. This is what is supposed to catch all the bacteria and it's our middle layer. It needs to be a non-woven, which makes it different structurally from the other layers. I'll be using an interfacing, which you can find at dress stores like Spotlight. Otherwise, things like Chux wipes actually have the same structure and you can use that as well. Now for the outer fabric, who recommends a tightly woven natural or synthetic? Of course, there are pros and cons to each. So with synthetics, it's basically a plastic and it's not very eco, but it might be waterproof. And on the other hand, you've got natural fabrics, will be much softer, but they are not waterproof. I chose to use natural fabrics, and in this instance, I'm using a scrap that I had left over from using an old bed sheet. So first off, we're going to cut out a square shape. It's just going to be 19 centimeters by 19 centimeters, and that's including a 1 centimeter seam allowance so that we can sew all around the edge. Once you've cut out your pieces, you want your filter layer on the top and then followed by your two outer pieces with their right sides together. Now for the ear loops, you can use lengths of elastic, but I find that these pieces of cotton are much more comfortable around the ears, and all you have to do to make these is cut strips of cotton jersey. So cotton jersey is the type of fabric that t-shirts are made from, and so you just cut it into strips that are about 1 inch thick, and then you pull it out to make this kind of string, and then you simply cut it to lengths of about 19 centimeters. That includes 1 centimeter on each side so that we can sew them into the mask. Now you can kind of see how our mask is going to take shape, but before we put the ear loops in, we're just going to sew straight across the top and the bottom of the mask. We are going to do some top stitching as well, so you probably want to choose a thread that matches your fabric. Then just sew straight across the top and the bottom. Now for the ear loops. So we're basically going to flip the mask inside out to finish it. So that means that when we put the ear loops in, they're actually going to sit on the inside of the mask. So I think the easiest way is to pop the whole ear loop inside the mask and then align the ear loop with the edge that you've just sewn. And do the left and right sides separately so that you don't mix up the ear loops. Now, importantly, you will need to keep part of one of the sides open so that we can flip it inside out later on. So that means sewing the little ear loop bit, stopping your thread, keeping a little break, and then sewing the other ear loop. You can see what I mean in this close-up visual here. Now it's time to flip our mask the right side out. So just start little by little and push the whole mask through that little hole until it's the right way out. and neaten the little edges of the hole that we used and push them inside so that they're nice and flat, because we're going to top stitch over them anyway to close that hole. The last step is to put pleats into the sides of the mask. Aim for pleats that are about 1.5 centimeters and fold them over like so. You'll find that the edges of your mask will now be about 7 or 8, I reckon maybe 8 to 9 centimeters in length when your mask is finished. So to secure that in place, just sew all around the edge of the mask, about 1 mil from the edge. And now your mask is complete.
So there we go. I hope that you really enjoyed this tutorial and had some fun getting hands-on and making something really practical. Thank you so much for supporting me and my small business, and also all the other small businesses that you would usually find at Finders Keepers markets. It's an amazing community and they are amazing events that we really miss. But hopefully before long, we can get things back to normal and start to see some of your faces again. Take care of yourself and see you again soon.